Welcome back, everyone. This is Arafellan playing Magical Bringer Korona the movie, and where we left off, Pleia had just disengaged her limiter to use her new systems and was getting ready to face off against Korona. This could be a tricky battle. It's comparable in a lot of ways to Korona fighting Pleia in Act 4 of her own story. Pleia does still have the speed advantage, as usual, but Korona hits hard. So if I miss any blocks, this could be problematic. We'll see. We will also see shortly what the effects of this upgrade were. Just to start with, it does not affect her standard attack, or defense, or speed, or special attack damage, but there is something else that will be immediately obvious once we get to that point. Well, perhaps not immediately, but... well, we'll see. We have this game's version of Subaru's battle theme. As I believe we did the first time Pleia fought Korona in the Pleia story. As well as, of course, when Korona fights Pleia in the Korona story. I'm getting fewer criticals than I would like. I'm going to try to focus a little more. Anyway, Pleia's next turn, of course, will be Voltaic Blade. Yep, block those at our attacks. And for the most part, this is a harder version of when you fight Korona previously. In the first battle, Korona would not use Korona Blaster. In this one, she can. Also, Korona Desperado itself, which she did use last time, gets an additional upgrade, which we'll likely see before too long. But for now... let's rack up some damage. As it does take a lot to bring Korona down, this being a late Act 4 battle, she has fairly high stats here, and Korona has high attack and defense to begin with, whereas Pleia's are fairly low, which means each individual attack is not going to do much damage. But again, if I take a hit, that's going to hurt. So I need to be especially careful when blocking, particularly during special rounds. Looks like this is Blaster. So Blaster, much like Tempest. Blaster is much like Noel's Tempest. You get a bunch of chips. They will, depending on the current difficulty rating, it will either be all the same chip, like with player versions of Blaster and Thunder Discharge, or it will alternate between two directions like that, or if you have particularly high... yeah, if your difficulty is particularly high, it will cycle through all four. At least it will be in order and regular, but that can still be a little tricky to deal with. Yeah, took a hit. And you can see that took out a fairly large chunk even on just normal attack. Hitting to attack again. As if you're paying attention, you may have noticed already what is different. If not, it should be evident pretty soon. In particular, the fact that I'm not doing something I normally would at that point is kind of a clue. And there goes the music looping. It is rather unfortunate that the game has that limitation where the music does not loop cleanly. It is one advantage that chipset systems like the consoles have, where they have the music that is not pre-recorded but rendered in real time. Anyway, here we go. Be reborn, Tower of Light, piercing the heavens! Babble. I suppose if you're going to challenge the gods, you might as well go all out on the naming. But yes, with the limiter disengaged, Pleia can charge up to level 3 now, and she gets a level 3 special attack, which functionally works like Korona Gun Blazing, in that it takes up the whole energy bar, and in exchange you take off a full 30% of your opponent's health no matter how high their defense is, or how much health they have. And that's 30% of maximum health, so it's not like half of remaining kind of thing. So that is significant amount of damage. And as in the late game Korona battles, it can absolutely sway the outcome of the more difficult fights. Korona honestly isn't that bad here, but she's bad enough that you want to be taking chunks out. Messed up my rhythm a bit. Of course, if you're going for a maximum score, you want to not take damage whenever possible, rather than simply just not losing. But on this playthrough, I'm more concerned with just clearing. We're up to level 1. That will mean a Voltic Blade soon. But yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to be quick bursting this battle, because with the level 3 to shoot for, it makes sense to not do it after level 2. And Korona has enough health and defense that your normal attacks don't take off that much damage. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish her off on a regular attack, unless she's already has so low health that you can't see it. Anyway. Voltic Blade. There's the full cut-in with that electric humming noise. Yeah, even a full special attack only took off 2 or 3 bars. And as I've mentioned several times, not only are Pleia's specials, not only do they get extra hits like Korona's do, but they're also higher damage compared to her regular attacks. Actually, I might end up using a quick burst for the specials. Hey, this battle should be pretty much won, but it's always possible for something to go wrong. And that's the thing. Since when has Pleia ever won against Korona? That's kind of a major point, actually. She's never really won. And there was the intro battle in this game where you fight her in Chapter 1, but that's not really a serious fight, and it's not so much she won, as Korona wasn't really fighting in earnest, and they kind of backed off each other without there being an actual victor. It did affect the post-combat dialogue to some extent, but that was about it. Here, though, this feels like it's going to be much more important. It's kind of inevitable with Pleia being the protagonist in the story path, but think about the implications. You getting Desperado? Good. I did want to see a Desperado, just for the... There. I managed to block the whole thing, but if you were watching the sidebar where the special attributes show up, you may have noticed that had the Fierce property on it, which means it has some piercing damage. Each attack does, I think it's 1/10 of the base damage, even if you block it. Okay, at this point it's worth quick bursting. Because notice she's no visible health left. That should mean Voltic Blade is more than enough to finish it out. And here we go. Huh? Senpai, did you hold back? No, I went all out. Yes, there were no signs for going easy on me. Which means I won. And yeah, I finally lost. Somehow, it doesn't feel real when you say that. I don't know what else to say. It's over. I can't lift my sword. You won. For real. Why? It's not that I don't believe Sakura-senpai's words. And I'm sure enough that I did win. But somehow I'm not happy about it. It doesn't seem real. Senpai, I really... Huh? What is this? And yeah! Senpai? Who? What? Senpai, what's wrong? And yeah! Feels like something stung me. Are you alright? Yeah, I'm okay. But that's not really something you should be saying after hitting a girl with so much lightning, is it? Well, I suppose not, but this isn't the time for that. What was that strange thing? That's what I want to know. I heard some weird voice in my head. A weird voice? Not your demon sword? Nope, it was a different voice. What could it mean? It kept repeating the same thing. I choose you? Choose you? Well, obviously the universe is a Pokemon Master and, yeah, maybe not. Maybe if you remember the end of Korona Story, you'll be getting an ominous feeling from that. But for now, this is the end of Pleia Act 4. This has been Arafellin playing Magical Bringer Korona the movie. Come back next time and we'll start on the final chapter, which, as you may have guessed, is considerably different from the Korona final chapter. Hope to see you then.